What's going on, everybody? Mitesh here. So today I want to talk to you guys about the Pixel 2 camera. So I've had this phone for about a week now, and I've been putting the camera through its paces because really this is the main selling point for this phone. The hardware isn't anything spectacular compared to other Android phones, and the real differentiation Google feels it has is the camera. So I've been testing it out thoroughly, and this is my take on it. So starting off with the specs, it's got a 12.2 megapixel sensor, it's behind an f1.8 lens, and it's got OIS built in this year. Now, the specs don't tell you much because, you know what, honestly, all flagship phones have pretty much this exact same spec. So what it really comes down to is the image processing, and this is where Google feels with machine learning, it has the best image processing. And spoiler, I'm inclined to agree with them. I think this is a great camera. I don't think you'll be disappointed if you get this, but I want to do a more thorough review of it in case you guys wanted to have more information about it. So the things I'm going to talk about are the speed of the camera, so the camera app, how fast it launches, how fast it focuses, and how fast it actually takes a picture. Then I'll talk about the pictures themselves, how sharp they are, how color accurate they are, how much noise there is in the pictures, and then finally I just want to give what I think of the pictures it's taken. Like, it's a very subjective thing, but we'll go over that, and then we'll talk about video, and then finally I want to talk about the portrait mode that they've enabled here. So it's a special mode that they have, and it's really one of the big selling points for this camera too. So let's go. So the Pixel 2 camera app is actually a pretty bare bones experience. They don't have any sort of manual mode whatsoever. You can set the white balance, and this year you can set exposure, but otherwise you have no real control over anything. You can't control the shutter time, you can't control the ISO or anything like that. They really want you to trust the camera. They want you to be able to open it up quickly and then just take a picture. They don't want you to mess around with settings or anything like that. And speaking of opening a camera, it's really quick. So you just double tap the power button. Sorry about that. Double tap the power button and you're into it. So it takes a second from cold boot, but afterwards it's almost instantaneous. You're just in it. So it's really quick to open up, and it's also really quick to focus. They're using a dual pixel technology, and this is something that Samsung introduced last year in their kids, and in this one it's really fast to focus too. So you have no worries about trying to take a picture of someone if they're running around, like kids or pets. You can really quickly open it up, take a picture, and you can trust that it'll be in focus. Now the last part was actually taking that picture. So Google does this neat thing where they're constantly taking the pictures when the camera app is open. So as soon as you turn it on, they're taking pictures, and what they do is when you hit the shutter button, they just save that one to memory. So always taking pictures, so there's zero shutter lag because it's just always taking pictures. You click it, picture saved. Now there is some processing time that happens, so with HDR Plus and with portrait mode, there is some processing time, so it takes a little bit of time for it to completely process the image, but you already have it and you don't have to worry about it whether it's in focus or not. It's really impressive what Google's able to do and how fast they're able to take pictures. In terms of image quality, I think that Google has knocked it out of the park with this one. I thought the Pixel 1 camera last year was great, but somehow they've even improved on that here. So in terms of sharpness, this thing takes very sharp pictures. Even in low light, the pictures are super detailed. There is a little bit more noise, but the picture quality is there, and the noise actually just fades away because you can actually see what you're taking a picture of. In terms of color accuracy, this thing takes very color accurate pictures to what's in real life. Some people may not prefer this over something like the Galaxy S8 or the iPhone 8, which they tend to take a little bit more saturated pictures, and they're sometimes more pleasing to the eye. So a lot of people may prefer those, but with this you're getting some pretty good colors anyway, so I don't think you'll be disappointed by any means, but you may just not like it as much as some other cameras. In terms of noise, like I said, during regular night, there's not much noise at all. Even at night, even in very dark conditions, there's surprisingly little noise. I think there's some machine learning going in and removing all that noise, and I think they do a great job and not make the picture too soft. Now, in terms of overall image quality, I personally think this thing takes the best pictures, but for some of you out there, this may not be the best camera. You guys, like I said, may prefer the iPhone 8 where it does a little bit more saturated colors, or the Galaxy S8 where it has more of a cool tint for all the pictures. It really is very subjective. What I would say is that you're not going to be disappointed by the pictures you get out of this. when you take a picture, it's gonna come out looking great. And I have some samples here you guys can take a look at. So these are all pictures that are taken by me using just the Pixel 2. So all handheld, just opening it up and just taking it without giving it too much thought. So here we go. So next up we have video quality, and in terms of video quality, this is where I think the camera falls behind some others. So like the iPhone can take 4K resolution video at 60 frames per second. This is something that no other smartphone can do, and this is something that really iPhone shines at because they have the hardware and software integration. Here we're stuck with a Snapdragon 835, and I don't think that has the capability of taking 4K at 60 frames per second, so we don't get that here. But we do get 4K at 30 frames per second and 1080p at 60 frames per second and 30 frames per second. And also slow motion up to 240 frames per second, but only at 720p. So you are losing out in resolution there. Now, in terms of video stabilization, like I said, this year they've included OIS, and it does a great job at stabilizing video. Last year with just EIS, it had a bit of a Terminator-like effect, so when you panned across with the camera, it was very unnatural how it panned. But this year with OIS and EIS, they've really done a great job at stabilizing the video that you get from it. The one issue that I do have with the video, though, is the sound quality. It's just not as good as you would get with some other phones. I don't know why Google neglected the sound quality, but it's just not as good. Like even my ZTE Axon 7, while the optical image stabilization on that one wasn't so good, the sound quality is much, much better. So you are losing a little bit out on video, but I think this thing will definitely do you solid. Like, I think you will get a good video out of this, just the sound may not be as good. I will definitely take some videos. I'm gonna add some videos to my YouTube that are just from the camera, so we'll see how it goes. I'm definitely gonna take this on a few trips and see how good it does. But for right now, I think that you could get if you're looking for mainly video, I think you can do better with the iPhone or even the LG V30, which gives you way more control over the video. Like, you can do log video and things like that, which are really high-end things that I never thought you would see in cell phones. But anyway, so in video wise, I think that you can do better, but I don't think you'll be disappointed. I think this thing takes good video. And this is video from the rear facing camera. It's this should be optically image stabilized and electronically stabilized, so it should be some pretty steady footage even though I'm walking, and this is all handheld. But yeah, this is the quality you can expect from here. So finally, the last thing I want to talk about was portrait mode. This is a special thing that they added just for the Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL because they have changed the hardware a little bit since the last version to accommodate for it. Now, normally how portrait mode is done is with two lenses and two cameras working simultaneously to get a depth map of the picture they're taking. But on the Pixel, we're limited to just a single camera. So the way it's doing it is with the pixels themselves. So they're using a dual pixel technology, which means that for each pixel, you have a left half and a right half. And the left half and right half are just nanometers apart, and yet they're able to tell the depth from just millions of points that you get from the entire 12.2 megapixels, and they can get a depth map from just that. Like, it's really impressive, the fact that this is all just done locally on the camera. It does it like that. There is some processing time, but it's to be expected. And some of the shots you get from it are really impressive. Now they still have some areas where they can't quite get the boundary right. So like in some people, their hair will be a little blurred out. If you're taking a picture with more than one person, it's supposed to work where both of you are in focus and the background is blurred, but sometimes that doesn't work perfectly, especially if you're touching in certain ways. So I know that kissing really throws off the camera. So if you're kissing, somehow it can't quite get the boundaries right, and it always blurs something out that it's not supposed to be blurred out. So there are some misses, but for the most part, I think I've been really impressed with what it can do. And the really impressive thing is the fact that they can do this with the front-facing camera too, something that nobody else does, and something that they don't even have dual pixels in the front-facing camera, but their machine learning is just so good that they can most of the time just guess what's supposed to be in focus, and they're usually right. I've gotten some pretty good pictures out of it, and yeah, color me impressed. Like, this is a really good camera. I've been really impressed. The portrait mode, which, you know, I don't see myself using that much, it's still impressive what they can do with just a single camera. So overall, I'm not at all disappointed that I upgraded for just a camera, because the camera here is killer. So if you upgrade for the same reason, you're not going to be disappointed. If you upgrade for the screen, you might be, but that's a whole different discussion, and that'll come up in the actual review that I do. So that's all I have for you guys in this one. So links down below to the full resolution images of everything you saw, and even more pictures. And then you guys can follow me on Instagram or Snapchat or Twitter to see more pictures. All links all down below. And that's pretty much what I have for you guys in this one. I hope you guys liked it. Thumbs up if you did. You subscribe to see more videos like the Pixel 2 review. So that's it for me. I'll catch you guys in the next one.